Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys. And today we are back at the house of Byredo, guys. And Byredo is, a house that I choose to review whenever I can, whenever I see any new Byredo, as well as, anything new in terms of the recent Absolu series, which this one is a part of, okay? And as you all know, I have been reviewing the OG and the Absolu versions, really faithfully actually. So I made sure not to skip this one and to give you guys a no hype breakdown on this. Let's go. Now before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel as we head towards 28,000 subscribers. So please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my over 900 no hype videos and shop at our affiliates, and with our affiliate links, it does help the channel greatly as well. Thank you so much for all your support. And the fragrance that we'll be talking about today is none other than the latest Byredo and the latest Absolu de Parfum right here. This is none other than Byredo Gypsy Water Absolu. Yes, Gypsy Water Absolu, or Absolu de Parfum, okay? Now, again, as I was saying, I've reviewed a lot of these OGs that have turned into the Absolu de Parfums. I have reviewed the Absolus as well, again, faithfully. And since Gypsy Water is one of the most viewed ones, the OG one of the most viewed in my library, I was quite excited when I found out that, hey, eventually they came out with the Absolu. I got the sample and I tried this extensively to give you guys a full no hype breakdown on this scent. Okay, so what is up with this fragrance right here, Byredo Gypsy Water Absolu? Now, the original Gypsy Water, quick recap. Again, you can watch the original video that I made. I'm gonna link it at the end just in case. But quick recap on Gypsy Water. Gypsy Water to me was like a nice, clean, easy to grab type of grabber perfume for women. Okay, the intro, not groundbreaking whatsoever, but it had some nice glistening bergamot. You got some nice aromatic pepper. You had some incense, very similar notes to the Absolu. You got some pine, some woody pine. You got some incense. You got some sandalwood, vanilla, notes that really a lot of people really love. That's like, for an easy grab. And one thing that's consistent with Gypsy Water and Gypsy Water Absolu is the fact that they're not like super heavy, and they're like, there's a certain level of strength in these fragrances that you think about something that's just easy to grab and it's non-invasive and it's a no-brainer to wear. So that is what I think of the original Gypsy Water. Now in comes Absolu, guys, and there are some tweaks right here, definitely. That's with every Absolu version. You'll see that the notes are very, very similar, but of course, when you're doing an Absolu, first and foremost, it is quite a reintroduction of the fragrance this time around. For those that really missed the train, the hype train of Gypsy Water Absolu is kind of like a reintroduction, and especially for new fans of the brand, right? And it's also because it's an Absolu, it's kind of like an extrait. Technically, these fragrances are deeper, richer, and the performance is supposed to be better. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to talk about this one right here because definitely there are some, there's a lot of similarities between this one and the OG, but also there are some differences that we need to go on. Let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, Byredo's Gypsy Water Absolu. Starting with this opening, guys, that has a very similar structure with the original. You've got your bergamot, you got your black pepper, okay, as the listed intro notes to this fragrance. Now, I will give you guys some feedback that this Absolu version commonly gets, and that there's too much pepper apparently in this intro. Now, I will say this, that there's a lot of impact in the intro. And one thing I will say is that, yeah, versus the original Gypsy Water, the amount of pepper is much stronger here in Gypsy Water Absolu, which makes sense because this should be the deeper, richer version of the original. Is it bad? No, I don't think it's bad at all. It's just that it's not as mildly, lightly clean as the original Gypsy Water. This one right here is a lot more peppery and aromatic for at least the first 10 to 15 minutes of the scent. So let me tell you this, that this pepperiness is not an annoyance. It's not super heavy. It's not going to last past 15 minutes, but it will give you that, signal that this is an Absolu. It's definitely deeper and richer because of more pepper in the intro right here, causing that nice aroma. Now, another modifier right here in the intro is the early appearance of the mid notes. So you are not just getting the combination of bergamot and the pepper. Okay, so first off, pine comes in, which gives some nice woody freshness right here in the intro of this fragrance. But also you are going to get the early appearance of musky and sweet carrot seeds, as well as the early appearance also of that incense. So that's the big difference right there. In my opinion, as you are getting used to the aroma of the pepper, in comes in also, the early incense, as well as early sweet and musky smells care of the carrot seeds. So that is something that from my scent memory, I don't recall the original Gypsy Water being like that. Again, I think about easy grab, citrus aromatic, no problems, no issues, something like that. But then here, some people are right. There is a heavier presence of that pepper. But then also the transition makes sense because you also have the incense, the musky carrot seeds come also inside this intro as you are smelling it. But of course, in the intro, it's balanced still. I would say the first, maybe couple hours is actually balanced with the glistening bergamot and the pine needles as well. So there's an element of freshness. There's still that element of bergamot, sparkling bergamot. But yeah, you're gonna get that pepper, that aromatic black pepper. You are gonna get the early appearance of these mid notes that make sense. Again, signaling that this is a deeper, richer version of the OG Gypsy Water. Okay, so now let's talk about initial sillage and projection on this fragrance. So this one right here is an aromatic, lingering draw-in scent. It's not nuclear by any means, and I also feel like a lot of the strength is in the first few parts of this fragrance. And I'll talk about longevity and performance later, which I know is kind of like an issue for a lot of people with Gypsy Water. But this one right here definitely has a nice lingering aromatic smell. The musks definitely give it strength as well. And it's a nice draw in for the wearer, plus mood enhancing in the beginning. So I would say initial sillage and projection is decent on this one. So now let's head into the mid of this fragrance right here, Gypsy Water Absolu. And like I said, the pepper, the aromatic peppery nature definitely sets up the incense, kind of like that smoky, woody incense. You might even find it churchy a bit, as well as the carrot seeds, the musky carrot seeds that come here in the mid of this fragrance, guys. Okay, so initially, like I said, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get the incense that really bridges through from the pepper, and then you're gonna get the muskiness from the carrot seeds, slight sweetness come up as well early in this fragrance. Now, a big prominent note in the mid is going to be orris butter. All right, orris butter. That I would say once the intro notes kind of fade away, maybe 1 to 2 hours in, really you're gonna get some slight kind of like sweet and cozy, comforting, almost like, again, wearing like a sweater, like a nice wool sweater type of feel with the intro of this orris butter. So I would say that this is kind of like the comfort note. And also, let me tell you this, that the incense does not last forever. The incense doesn't last forever. Maybe it's good for another couple hours into this mid, and then eventually the orris butter is the one that comes out, mixed in with the carrot seeds and maybe even the early ambroxan with the sweetness and the muskiness right here. So it's very like cozy, slightly sweet, powdery, comforting, mixes well with muskiness. And what can I say? It's a nice, comforting mid right here. Now, one thing I will also say is that this mid leans more femme as the woody incense disappears, okay? It does lean slightly femme. I mean, I couldn't take my mind away from that, as the orris butter does come out with the slight sweetness and the powderiness. It did feel like, you know, the mid leaned femme, in which, by the way, the original Gypsy Water, to me, I was saying that that one leaned femme anyways. Now, on the latter part of this mid, guys, the orris butter does get buttery. Okay, so that's one thing, because as the mid notes fade out, orris butter really comes out on its own, maybe propelled by musks, but definitely you will smell that butteriness on top of the powdery, comforting nature of the orris. Okay, so definitely there is that part, which is, in my opinion, really, really lovely. So again, very, very cozy. Nice incense transition in the beginning that I like, slightly churchy and woody, but again, it's on a level that doesn't feel like heavy or imposing or dark. It's basically almost like a level-headed type of strength here in the mid of Gypsy Water Absolu de Parfum. Okay, now let's head into the dry down of Byredo Gypsy Water Absolu. Now, one thing that's missing in the dry down is sandalwood. Okay, that is something that is in the original Gypsy Water that's really not here in Gypsy Water Absolu. Instead, you get suede, you get ambroxan, you get vanilla. Well, let me tell you this, guys, that this dry down, although sounds really stellar, especially since ambroxan is something that you guys might like, actually, it's not really. It's kind of like anticlimactic, to be honest, because I feel like after 5 hours or even 6 hours, there's a bigger drop in the performance of this fragrance, to the point where can't really say that, you know, the notes right here are going to be prominent and super smelled out, because a lot of how these notes are already set up by the mid notes. You already have powderiness and muskiness in the mid that also set up the muskiness of the ambroxan as well as the suede, you know, and then the vanilla sweetness is also, well, partially set up by the orris butter as well. So the thing about this dry down is it doesn't have the sandalwood dry down, but it does have a musk vanilla dry down, which is not bad whatsoever. I mean, it's really not bad at all. It's just that performance-wise, it wasn't as strong to where I can say, oh, I could really, really smell that. It was really like a nice fusion / continuation of the mid with musks and vanilla here at the ending of this fragrance right here. Okay, so what do I think of this fragrance right here, Byredo Gypsy Water Absolu? I like it. I'll definitely say this, that this is much more unisex than the original Gypsy Water. That felt like a femme-leaning grabber, you know, with the sandalwood and the vanilla. And of course that, you know, again, not so stellar intro with the nice aromatic pepper and bergamot. That felt like a grabber to me. And that's really why Gypsy Water was so popular, because it was like a no-brainer, easy grab. Much like MFKs, like Aqua Universalis, or like Petit Matin. Like, these are just all like easy grabbers, not really complicated. But again, if you think about smelling good, going out, having a nice mood enhancer, you think about fragrances like Gypsy Water, right? But this one definitely is an Absolu that is much more unisex because of the additional pepperiness, maybe even a stronger woody, churchy incense coming in, maybe because it's got some ambroxan and vanilla instead of that maybe femme-leaning, like sandalwood, musk, meditative type of ending. This one definitely has a little bit more oomph than the original Gypsy Water. And again, the only kind of like real femme modifier to me was the orris butter, which, depending on how you guys are smelling all of this, I mean, you could just have it transition into like the musk and vanilla and smell the incense instead. So I would say this is a lot more unisex than the original. Now, usage-wise, guys, to me, this is yet again a grabber, but it's more for, I don't know, AC environments or events, like personal outings, I would say, where you kind of want to have like a signature scent and also smell different and also feel like have that mood that you're wearing a really nice chic perfume, I would say that this, falls into that, which is pretty similar to how, I said, the original Gypsy Water would be. A grabber, a nice grabber to upscale grabber. But again, this one is deeper, it's richer, it's got more oomph, like I said, and much more unisex. So definitely this is something that's very interesting as an Absolu. I think they did it justice by giving this the Absolu moniker with the tweaks that they did, without a doubt. Can you wear this in hotter weather? Yes you can, but because of these tweaks, I would say that this is more reserved for either nighttime or cooler environments, cooler days, cooler nights, versus like straight up like hot and humid weather. I don't think that's the right time and place to wear this right here. But this is more, to me, like I said, AC environments are very similar. Cool environments, that's the best way to wear this one right here. Okay, now total performance on this fragrance. So this fragrance, like I said, felt like everything was thrown in the beginning parts of the fragrance, like most of the notes, most of the strength. And usually when you see something like that, it does have a performance drop towards the end. And I'm sure you're wondering, what was that? Like, what's the longevity? In my opinion, it is 8 to 9 hours, okay? Which, yes, it's not crazy good. It's not a 12-hour scent, but as far as I know, the last Gypsy Water didn't even really last that long. Some people were having a lot of complaints about the performance of the original Gypsy Water, but this one right here is about 8 to 9, or let's just say it's 9, okay? And you are still gonna get some hints of vanilla and musks towards the end, but at this point, it's kind of like thinned out. And it's not heavy because most of the notes in the beginning were heavy. So like I said, it would be about a 9-hour scent. Now, for a lot of people, that's okay because this is a casual grab, not really meant for wearing it the whole day and having everybody smell you for the whole day. I really think that the beginning to mid of this fragrance is pretty damn stellar, and they made a point to make it an Absolu version because of these tweaks that they made. Okay, and finally, let's look at the cost of this fragrance right here, Gypsy Water Absolu, and is it worth a full bottle? Okay, first and foremost, this fragrance is $280 for 50 ml. Again, you could look at it as, oh, it's a $500 scent, but again, they made it 50 ml, so anybody that has a $200 $300 budget can buy it, right? So again, they made that so anybody can buy it. Now, this 50 ml, definitely usable. That is one thing I will say. Full bottle wise, if you do like how it smells and the tweaks that they made versus the original Gypsy Water, I really think it's a nice full bottle worthy scent. Now, to me, this is also a grower. Okay, so first time I tried this one, it was okay. But the more that I use this sample right here, I think I'm on my 4th wear of this sample. Definitely I got to appreciate a lot more things about Gypsy Water Absolu. The incense, the carrot seeds, the muskiness, right? The orris butter, the buttery part of the orris butter. And of course, that nice peppery intro that goes well with the freshness, right? So I gotta say this, that the more I wear it, I like it more. So I think that, again, don't dismiss this from one spray. If you're gonna get a sample, wear it a little bit more, try it like different days and see how that works for y'all. But for me, this is a grower. I like this scent. I like the fact that it's more unisex than the OG, and it's much deeper and richer at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's the absolute nature of this scent right here. And that is it. That is my no hype review on the latest Byredo Gypsy Water Absolu de Parfum. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance right here. I'm sure by this point, a lot of y'all, fans of Byredo, have tried it at the boutiques or at a Nordstrom or something, or maybe even got some samples taken home from like a previous purchase. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like this better than the original? I definitely do. I like this better than the original because I'm a guy, and this is more wearable to me than the original, which is to me is much more meant for the ladies, right? So this one is much more unisex, much more, incensey than the old one. So I really like this one right here. And again, it grew on me the more I wore it. What do you think? What do y'all think of this fragrance right here? Comment below, guys, and I will see you guys on the next video. Can't wait to review these other fragrances. I got the new Louis Vuitton coming out, so hope you guys are excited about that. Amber Levant, I think is the word. And I'll see you guys anyways on the next video. God bless. Take care. Peace.